What's going on, guys? Welcome to our Zenith Sunday call. These are the calls where we work. I try to make it particularly into personal development mostly, but sometimes, we could go off track and just start adding everything in here, right? Fridays and Saturdays, I have to like work on a better time and just stick with it every Friday and Saturday. So we could do obviously Fridays is going to be finance call, Saturdays is going to be a Bible study. But yeah, like I get busy too. Like usually I know a day of rest is what's needed, and I'm working like Monday through Sunday every single day, so yeah, I just have to fit that into the schedule so we could all like have an actual plan we could rely on. And I know the weekend is same thing for you guys, right? The weekend comes like family time, you're not working. So I understand that most people just watch the recordings, so yeah, I'm gonna just do it anyway. Like even if most of you guys don't show up, I know in the time like these calls is gonna be stacked full of people because I know it's very needed. But I just have to get better at my timing too when it comes to those two things, and I will. All right, because what we're gonna talk about today is the levels of greatness, which is a level A and a level B. All right. We're going to talk about the difference between a level A versus a level B. So this is going to be a really good topic, right? I was thinking about this for a while. I was thinking about this for a whole week, right? Because most people want level A results, but they live with level B habits. Just want this to stick with you guys because everybody wants to be great, right? We all want to be great in life. We want to be great in something, but very few understand the price of greatness. And there's this quote that I love, right? The difference between talent and skill is hours and hours of beating on your craft. So most people think A level and a B level, they think it's close when it comes to performance, but it's a massive gap within your mindset, your sacrifice, your identity, and your habits. All right, guys, like, is it getting clear so far? Because this was one of the biggest game changers for me. And I'm still far away from where I needed to be. But when we talk about this, guys, it's not very hard to beat society because everybody wants a level A result, but not everybody is willing to put in the effort to get there. Right? So you got to ask yourself, are you willing to put in the effort? Right? Because we're going to talk about the truth. And the truth is not about skill, it's about obsession. Most people, especially in our craft, a lot of you are very skilled, but are you obsessed? A lot of you are addicted, but are you obsessed? Right? So a level B can be talented, a level B can be smart, a level B can want it. But a level A, right? A level A player is obsessed. And when I'm saying a level, it could be anything in life, right? Anything that you're choosing to pursue, right? Obviously, it's trading, your fitness, your personal life, right? Your relationships. Like you got to look at it as levels, okay? So this is why I'm saying level A, level B, right? So, what is the difference between level A traders? Well, you have to think about it, right? We all study even if we're tired. Most of you, when you study, you get tired, you just say, I get to it later. Do you think people that are great, they give up when they're tired, right? Or they wait till they're done, right? Level A people, they don't do things, they don't work when they feel like it, right? They do it anyway. Level A players, they are not waiting for motivation. When you see people also in their craft, they're usually the first ones in the door and they're usually the last ones out. They're there first, last one to leave. When you look at them, they're studying first, they're finished studying after you, right? They build habits that forces their actual growth, right? And they don't ask, is this enough? Right? They're always asking themselves, how much more could I give today? Okay. And now let's talk about the difference of level B players, right? Most of them, they rely on motivation. They only want to work when they feel like it, right? They dab with the growth, right? But they don't live in it. They don't live to grow. They do things to a very bare minimum because they just relying on their skill, right? So they break discipline when they're also emotional. When things just happen in your life, you just stop being disciplined, okay? And most of them don't have enough hunger to pursue what they want. They just rely on hope, okay? So being an A is not about being gifted. So that's why I want you guys to understand. It's just about how committed are you to becoming a level A in your craft? All right, just want that to just digest that information for a bit. And if you guys have any questions so far, you could write it out. But so far, does it make sense? Because the difference between what we talk about today is, are you willing to put in the effort, right? I gave you the characteristics. Which one are you? And you have to be truthful for that. Like you wishing to be a level A, but you're doing the habits of a level B, and you're realizing why you're not there yet, right? So we're going to talk about the sacrifices because remember what I said, level A is a sacrifice that has to be met, right? So sometimes sleep has to be a sacrifice. Most of us love sleep more than anything. But level A people, they use sleep. They study sleep sometimes. Like, how's your sleep life like, right? Or you just sleep whenever? Like, is it a part of your schedule? Most people love sleep, but that also has to be a sacrifice in the beginning, but then eventually it has to be a part of a plan because we all do need rest. But now let's talk about your social life. What are you doing in your social life that's requiring sacrifices? Are you still around people that is holding you back from your goals, right? Are you building connections with people that could help you succeed? Are you making yourself uncomfortable? Are you saying no to certain things, right? Are you sacrificing comfort? Right? Are you still relying on comfort every single day? Are you still doing things a part of your old habits? Because if you're not doing something to make you uncomfortable every single day, you're not sacrificing anything throughout the day, right? Like, what about distractions? Are you sacrificing your distractions and entertainment? Are you still scrolling nonstop? Are you still watching and listening to stuff that is not helping you grow? Right? Because when we talk about a level A player, how you think they get there, right? So we know the things that we have to sacrifice. Like everything that doesn't align with your mission, you have to sacrifice it. Like that's just plain and simple, right? Sometimes it's not about balance, right? It's sometimes you just have to learn to align the things that's just going to help you with your goal. And then once you start doing that, the balance will come. But most people want balance first. And it does just doesn't work that way. All right. So far, are we clear? Speaking of you, yeah, I got you, bro. Yeah, I just wanted to like connect, right? Because we all go through it. But sometimes your talent is what gets you to a certain you can only get so far with your talent, right? You're gonna eventually come to a roadblock where your talent is just not gonna get you to that next level. And the difference, like you could look at people that are great with what they do, like just great. And you hear people that are good speak about the people that are great. It's insane. It's like most of y'all would probably think that LeBron was like he's great. But do you hear when he talks about Kobe? Right? Do you hear how these people talk about Michael? Like the work ethic, the sacrifice, right? So people that are good and people that are great is like it's total different levels. Like we fail to see the difference of the effort people at a level A do compared to a level B. And that's everything in life, right? So just think about it that your life is a seed. You can't plant the seed in comfort and you can't plant it in your calling. So if you are just sticking with comfort, how you expect to get everything that you want, right? Because we love comfort. That's we feel like we want comfort more than our purpose. That's how our brain is designed, right? You want to grow, but you don't want to go through the things that is required to grow, right? That's called pruning, right? So we want success without the character that is needed. Just want you guys to listen to that. Like we all want to be a successful trader. We all want to be successful financially, but we want it without being the character that is required to get it. Make sense? Like we're all a seed that is being planted in the ground, and you want to become the big tree while you're still in the dirt, right? So it doesn't work that way. It takes time. You got to sprout, right? It takes seasons. So that's what's going through our personal development, right? So when we talk about that with trading, we could imply it with trading right now. So we talk about level A traders, right? We track everything. We study fundamentals. We journal our losses, right? We do weekly reviews, right? We want to know why the markets move. We stick to our risk management. We show up every session. We trade with a plan. We're always students of the craft, right? And we're always working on discipline, patience, and we're trying to control our emotions. So, are you doing that every single day? Because the level B trader, right? You only trade when you feel like it, right? You're not studying, you don't prepare, you're not reviewing, you're letting your emotions guide everything with your trades or the losses. You chasing every single move, right? You're not really focusing on fundamentals, and you just don't have an identity as a trader. So you could see the differences there, right? You can't have in between. You can't be like, well, I want to have a trading plan, but I'm chasing every move. You can't say I want to be disciplined, but I'm emotional. It's one or the other. You can't just combine both. You have to either be level A with all those characteristics, or you just got to stay a B, right? There's no in between, right? Because in between, there's just still no growth, right? So you can't just expect to have a level B expertise, but want a level A result. You cannot pray for discipline and live undisciplined. It just doesn't work that way. Even though our comfort want us to have that because this is what we're used to, but it's not going to work. You have to make a decision. You have to decide. And the decision could be made now, but the discipline has to be every single day, right? He asked, well, is there going to be an Asian session call? So let's talk about the core message here, okay? Because your identity changes before your results. And this is not what is taught every single day. Like we could see the life that we want, right? But this is going to be important because a lot of us miss this, right? We miss that your identity has to change before you get those results, right? You're trying to become great without becoming someone that is new, and you just cannot escape that truth. Nobody can escape that. If you are still who you are and you're not where you need to be yet, you have to become someone new. The old you have to die. You have to renew your brain, right? Because it's even biblical. There's no escaping it. Without becoming something new, you can't be great. It's not going to work because your habits is what reveals your identity. All right. So before your results change, your identity has to shift. So how do you think of yourself, right? How do you act every single day? Because you have to start becoming and acting as the person that you want to become, right? You can't be like level B is like a level B person, right? This is what they do, right? I'm trying. I hope that I can stay consistent. I want to get better. All right, maybe I'll start doing it tomorrow, right? Compared to somebody else, the new version of you, how does that look like? This is who I am now. I'm discipline is just my default, right? I'm consistent. I'm a work towards this. You can see the difference, right? This should hit a lot of us. It's like you're still acting as if as the old you, not the new you, but you want the results of the new person, but you don't want to put in the effort, right? So when we talk about God, right, he can't bless the person you are pretending to be. He's going to bless the person who you're becoming because we can all pretend for a day, but the difference is who you are becoming, right? So this is what they say. You got to carry that every single day with you. Every day is a battle. It's a choice. Okay. So read your messages. I know I'm willing, and I know is that all right. I know I'm willing, and how I know is that I don't give up no matter how many times I fail. But it can get overwhelming sometimes. How should one stay motivated and keep that fire burning? Like, yeah, it's just that's the pruning, right? That's you being pruned to the person that you want to become. Yeah, it's going to be tough, but this is good when you're actually failing because it's showing that you have something more to come for you, right? Like you're not going to just be successful in everything all at once. Like failure is a part of the process, right? You have to learn from the struggle. What is the things that I'm failing with? What is that failure teaching me? Right? Instead of looking at a failure and saying, oh, I'm being overwhelmed and like this is not helping me. How should I stay motivated? Like this is all the stuff a level B person asks, right? So it depends on what is it that you're trying to accomplish. The timing should not matter, right? This is something that I'm gonna do no matter what. Most of us fail to think that way. Like, what is it? Why are you really like? Why are you really here, right? Because if you're just doing it just to make money, that's not going to get you to where you need to be, right? How are you going to beat somebody in something if you're doing it for money and then somebody else is doing this because it's their life, right? Do you love this craft? Do you love what you do? Are you willing to do it even if no money was involved? Because if you're dictating your success because of money, that's what's stopping that has to stop right now. Because money is the result. That's the problem. You got to fall in love with the journey. You got to fall in love with the process. You're not getting the wealth because you're not focused on becoming who I need to be, right? So failure, it happens all the time. But what is the purpose of the failure? So it's a vague question. But with me, my failure was over leveraging. My failure was my poor mindset. My failure was my environment. So I can't say I want to be successful and I'm still living in a poor environment. I can't say I want to be successful and I'm still hanging around people that just pulling me away from my goals and my ambitions and my dreams, right? I can't say I want to be successful and I'm still busting my ass every day at a 9 to 5 job that I know is not going to get me to where I want to become, right? So when you're saying these things, it's like you have to identify what it really is, right? I knew my job was holding me back, but I knew at that time I couldn't just quit because then, I wasn't making money in trading at this time. So what did I had to sacrifice? I had to sacrifice sleep, right? I could have sacrificed time with my family because I had kids and I had a wife at that time, right? So I couldn't sacrifice that. I sacrificed sleep. So I talked to somebody else, they're not willing to sacrifice sleep. So what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you going to just quit your job? Right? So if you're I was bad with risk management. That's why I preached to you guys how important it was. So I had to just be risk management. I had to just use it because in order for me to use that, my old self had to die. The way I thought had to be renewed because I'm only thinking about making the money now. I wasn't thinking about this is the progress I have to go through now in order to become the person that can handle that type of money, right? So if I couldn't handle a $50 account now, how am I able to handle a $50,000 account? Because a lot of you think money is the problem. It's not the problem. Money is going to be added upon you when you start becoming the person who can handle it. Because if you guys had it now, your life will be way worse at the end of it than what it is now because it could ruin you. So you're not even prepping yourself to be able to handle the results that you're asking for, right? Because if you was not failing and you just had everything at this moment, like I'm speaking it from a God perspective, but you would idolize yourself. You're gonna be content, you're gonna be comfortable, right? And then everything is just going to crumble and go downhill. So you have to work on that part of yourself now. The results is going to come because you will get tested. There's going to be a time where you're going to get $100,000 account. You're going to get all of this stuff. Are you going to be able to handle it when that time comes? You're going to be able to have $50,000 in your bank account. Are you going to be able to do the right things with it when that time comes? So we all are going to get it. You're going to get what you asked for. But the difference is, did you prep for it? So when that time comes, you're able to allow that to change your life, right? A lot of us is not ready for it. That's why when people win the casino, right? They gamble, they make all this money, they blow it all, right? Mark Douglas talked about same in the trading in the zone. The consistently successful traders you want to become doesn't exist. You must create a new version of yourself. Yeah, it all makes sense. It's even in the book, in the trading books. But that's the difference between applying. Like this is the difference, guys. This is what I say is the difference between a level A person compared to a level B, right? All of you read the book. So how come all of everybody's have nobody has the same results? So that's the wisdom that you have to apply into yourself every single day to use the information. You can't just try it for a day and then it doesn't work, then you're like, oh, fuck it. It doesn't, it's a day-to-day effort. Are you willing to sacrifice every single day? Majority of people are not willing to do it. They're not. Are you a part of the majority that is not willing to do it? And just ask yourself that because yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. You have to think of it as being uncomfortable because that's the changing of the habits. That's when we change our habits, right? So when you're finally doing something that's outside your comfort zone, everything is gonna pull you away from that. You're gonna be like, oh man, like, oh, this shit, I did all of this, I did all the sacrifice and haven't seen the result. But are you willing to do it again and again and again? And that's the hardest shit in life, right? To give everything you have and to not see an instant result. But to understand if I continue to do this for the next 3 to 6 months, I know that I'm gonna be a better person. I know that I will gain that result. But most people is not willing to stick it out because we all want that instant gratification. Okay. So I'm about to just wrap up, all right? So I just want you guys to listen to this carefully. So you don't become great because you want to. You become great because you're willing to kill the version of you that keeps settling. All right? So understand that greatness is not just a feeling. Greatness is a system, it's repetition, it's accountability. Okay? So during this process, it's going to get lonely. It's going to cost before you see the reward. It's going to cost. So accept it, right? And most of you are probably in the middle of that, right? Like it's like, damn, I've been going this route. People don't understand me. I'm losing certain people. I got to tell no to certain people. Just hang on, right? Because right in that middle, the reward is going to come. And that's when everybody's going to start coming back to you. Right now, yes, you're going to be crazy. Right now, people is not going to understand you, right? Right now, that path, it's going to cost a lot, right? But that's the sacrifice. I want you guys to understand that that's the sacrifice. All right. So moving forward, I just want you guys create yourself a schedule, right? Because if you keep relying on your talent, you're just going to be level B and you're not going to grow. You're not going to be great in anything. You have to create yourself a schedule, something that makes you uncomfortable, something that builds your discipline. The time you wake up has to be earlier. Start off with bettering your mind. Start off with fitness, right? When trading, start journaling, start reading, start understanding what's going on in fundamentals, start challenging yourself. All right. Try not to take no emotional trading. Add a good habit to your week. These are the things that you have to do. What is one distraction that you could eliminate this week? Okay. So something that makes you Like do something that makes you uncomfortable, right? This is how you can start renewing your mind. All right. So I just wanted to leave that with you guys. I can end it here. Any questions? If you guys are good, put a one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like renewing our mind is one of the it's hard. It's what society says is hard, you know, and then we just implement that to our daily routine, but it's not, you know, when we have the power of choice. It's just a choice. Like every single decision you make is a choice, right? Like I choose to do the right thing or I choose not to, right? So when an opportunity comes, right, where it's like, oh, should I watch this show or should I study, right? Should I go to bed or should I finish this educational course? Should I take notes or I shouldn't? Like, there's no A, B, C, D, or E, F, G. It's just a choice between doing something right or doing something wrong. That's all that it is. It's a choice. So treat it that way. And most of you guys that are, right, you believe in God, you believe in Christ, before you make a decision, right? You ask God, what do you want me to do? Right? Which direction should I go? And you're gonna get that conviction to what side you should go, right? Because we understand the difference between doing something good and doing something bad. It's all a choice. You know, it's not we all had the access to this before, right? Before Jesus, we didn't have the access to the Holy Spirit, right? We didn't have that access. Now we do have that access. You got to start acting like it. You know, like don't fall for how society wants us to be. We all here and we should know that the way our minds are now was based off of how society corrupted us. We don't think about how we control our destiny. We don't think about that. But the moment you could understand the power you do have within yourself, that's when you start renewing yourself. That's when you start renewing your mind. I need you guys to read. Stop listening to people. Read, read, read. You got to read. Okay? You have to read and then apply it. That's where the wisdom comes in. All right, guys? So you all are capable of becoming who you want to be. But society is what holds you back. That's why it's all a choice. While you're one person is choosing to be great, a level A, another person is choosing to be a level B, but hoping to be a level A. That's the difference, right? So it's just a choice. And yeah, it's the choice makes you uncomfortable. The choice makes you fear. The choice gives you doubt. Like the biggest fear is like, what is it? Why, like ask yourself, why do I fear to be great? Why do I fear to just do everything that I know I should do? That's why I'm not here to tell you guys, write all of the shit down that you want to do with your life. No, you already know inside, right? You know, right? You know what is a good thing to do compared to a bad thing. You know it. But why are we so afraid to give it all that we got? Like the distractions is always going to be there, right? So how do I know it is going to come true? What you've been doing this whole time, right, got you to where you are now. So if that's true, what makes you think, you know, when you actually apply the right information, you won't get what you need? Right? So just think about that. When you do negative things, when you stay content, right? When you just focus on your emotions and you just focus on your feelings, everything that you wanted with that came true. Makes sense, guys, right? So that's how you know. Because the only thing we don't do is everything that is needed to get to the point of where we need to be. Because we know it's possible. That's why you guys think and see that those visions of yourself, because you know it's possible to get there, but you're not doing the things that is required for you to get there. We doing the things that is required to get us to where we are today. So that's why that version of you have to die and you have to renew yourself, renew your mind, renew the way of your thinking. And that's where the success comes. Stop expecting the result to come first and then I'm going to become the person after. Makes sense? Yeah, you're going to be thrown in the fire. Just get thrown in there and just start being the person. And when you start being that person, that's when wisdom comes. That's when you're going to start making better decisions. You're going to start seeing things differently. It's not going to happen. You're not going to see those changes first. It happens after you decide. Make sense? You just think that, oh, I'm gonna just have to make these decisions. Like you can't know what a CEO does on a daily basis until you become the CEO, right? So those hard decisions, those hard choices, you're going to start getting better at that. You're going to see yourself making better decisions, doing things the way that your higher self would do it. So this is why you got to start becoming. I appreciate you guys for being here. Love you. I will get the weekly prep done and yeah, let's see what happens this week. I try to get everything done before 5 at before market open, but I appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.